Dante's vaccination. Dante's vaccination. Dante's boxing nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Have you ever been involved in a conversation with someone, whether it's your girlfriend, your wife, relative, friends, whatever, and in that conversation, for whatever reason, regardless if they do it intentionally or if it's unintentional, they say something that personally offends you, right? I dated this woman in the past that was a master at doing this. Let me give you guys a scenario. So once again, you get into a conversation with someone. For whatever reason, they say something that personally offends you. Now you wait till things die down and you try to tell them in a nice way, hey, you know, by the way, when you said whoopty this and whoopty that the other day, I was personally offended. Now you're expecting that person in response to possibly apologize and say, oh, you know, I didn't know you took it that way. Something on the lines of that. That's what you're expecting that person to say. But instead, they surprise you. Not only do they not apologize, but then they justify what they said, and then they try to tell you that you shouldn't be offended because they didn't offend you. And they're not going to apologize because what they said wasn't offensive. And this is my first reaction. This is my first question. How are you going to tell me what offends me and what doesn't? Why are we arguing about my personal feelings? Now, you can be an expert on how you feel, but how are you going to tell me how I feel when I was the one that was under attack? You're the one throwing the rock. I'm the one getting hit with the rock. How are you going to tell me how it felt getting hit with the rock? If I were to tell you that I was hungry right now, how are you going to sit over here and say, you're not hungry, you just ate 3 hours ago? How could you possibly be hungry already? How are you going to tell me how I feel? For those of you guys who don't follow the boxing news the way I do, let me go ahead and get you caught up. Hbo'S light heavyweight Sergey Kovalev recently just came out of the closet as a straight racist. He posted a picture on Twitter of him standing next to a child, pointing at the child's shirt. I believe this child is his son, but I'm not sure. On that shirt was a picture of a man's body with a Photoshop monkey's face and boxing gloves. And then the caption reads, written by Sergey Kovalev, Adonis Stevenson looks great. So obviously Sergey Kovalev did not get the response that he was expecting to get, because shortly after he tweeted this, tons of articles were posted and videos were posted about Sergey Kovalev being this very disgraceful racist. So from that point on, once Sergey found this out, he, in my opinion, I believe, was advised to send another tweet out and apologize for his antics, which doesn't change anything, but you got to give the man credit for attempting to apologize, which I do. He's still a flat-out racist. But anyway, the point that I'm making is exactly what I said at the beginning of this video. Now, even though monkeys come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, from a chimpanzee to a gorilla to a Japanese monkey, if you Google all the different type of monkeys, you will see monkeys that resemble all races. honestly. But we know in this country, using the word monkey is obviously a way to offend the black race. Don't ask me why, that's just the way it is. Now, as a black man in America, this personally offended me, what Sergey Kovalev did. This goes back to what I said at the beginning of this video. If I'm offended, how are you going to argue with me over me being offended when you weren't even the one that was under attack? You weren't the one that was personally offended, but yet you're trying to argue with me over my feelings, right? And then to add insult to injury, the majority of boxing fans had the nerve to defend a racist, justify what he said, and try to explain why it wasn't really offensive and you should get over it. And the way they try to defend this is by saying, well, you know, so-and-so, he said this 5 years ago, or so-and-so said this 40 years ago. What does what someone else said have to do with me being offended right now? What kind of ridiculous philosophy is that? Someone sent me a link of an article. In the title, I didn't even read the article because the title said it all. The title said, "Why is Sergey Kovalev being condemned but Muhammad Ali wasn't?" This is the type of ignorance that still exists today when people are writing articles like that. Really? You're comparing a black man from the Nation of Islam to an Eastern European white man. Complete polar opposites, right? Or are you telling me they have a whole lot in common? You're telling me that Sergey Kovalev, he loves black people just as much as Muhammad Ali does, right? Sergey Kovalev did just as much for the black race as Muhammad Ali did. Is that what you're telling me? These guys are polar opposites. Now, if Sergey Kovalev would have been making fun of his own race and talking about that guy's features, then you could say, oh, that's just like Muhammad Ali right there. But this wasn't the case. And we know when it comes to Europe, unfortunately, a lot of countries in Europe are known for being extremely racist towards black people. We already know this. If you watch soccer, then you know the racism is out of control towards black people. We already know this. Racism in soccer got so bad that Nike had to jump in and they did a commercial begging racist people to stop the racism. That's how bad the racism got in Europe when it comes to soccer. I mean, they've gotten better now. I hear that now soccer players get banned from the sport for, you know, racism, and teams get fined and suspended and so on and so forth for the fans being racist. So the fact that boxing fans will defend a guy that makes it no secret that he is a flat-out racist proves that everything that I've been telling you guys on this channel has been the whole truth. Unless the ignorant fans start to treat Sergey Kovalev the exact same way they treat Floyd Mayweather. Now, if I see that happen, then I would admit that I was wrong. Let's see if that happens. But we already know it's not happening because people are already defending him. Soon as he did it, they start defending him. And people will even defend him after they watch or listen to this video. Because we know this Sergey Kovalev is not on the coincidental list, right? Allow me to reiterate. Once again, if I am personally offended, what does that have to do with you telling me about what someone else said about someone else? What does that have to do with me? It has absolutely nothing to do with me being offended. That's like a woman getting raped. She's telling you, I just got raped, and you say, okay, well, what about so-and-so that got raped 5 years ago? Am I really supposed to feel sorry about you getting raped? You know how many women get raped? Does that make any sense, guys? Does that logic make any sense? Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. And once again, to try to compare what Sergey Kovalev did to what Muhammad Ali did, my goodness, my goodness. Talk about sinking to a new low. That's like me going out right now and offending an Asian person, right? I attack him by using one of the most offensive racial slurs towards Asians. And then I Google something and I say, oh, see, it wasn't racist because, see, this Asian guy back in 2008, he actually said this about his own race. So see, not guilty. And then the Asian person is supposed to be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I thought you were being racist until I Googled this up and found out that an Asian guy said this about another Asian. My apologies for even thinking that you were offending me. Do you guys know how ignorant that sounds? It is sad when you think about the fact that these ignorant racist fans will desperately try to defend an open racist, while at the same time turn around and say, I hate Floyd Mayweather because of what he says and does in his personal life. I'll close out with saying this. We know what time it is. And over here on this channel, you will continue to hear the whole truth.
Hey, yo, Dante, yo, yeah, man, yo, you got him running scared, man.
I'm on to the next one.